see more than a campus. We see a community built to ignite passions. We see more than a degree. We see the careers of tomorrow. We see more than a student. We see someone destined to make an impact.
And welcome back in, everybody, to another week of action. It is me, Prepaid, promise to be back again, along with Ocean. And Ocean, we have two teams coming up. We just saw their videos, Fairfield and Quinnipiac. Two teams that are looking to really brawl with each other here. I'm predicting a pretty good game. What's some of your insight here?
Yeah, I just noticed something. I was watching the Fairfield video. If that's your example of football or soccer, that's very disappointing. You got to get your player outside. Don't let them get any chances. That was horrible. But anyways, I want to focus on Quinnipiac today. No, I was just hyper-analyzing their video that we saw. That was not a very good example of how to play football at all. But let's talk about Quinnipiac, because that's a team I want to hyper-analyze on today, because they've got a 4-4 record. They are a team that could potentially make ground this season. They have a good chance here against Fairfield, who are 2-6, to get another win on the board. But I want to see what their true potential is. They kind of struggled last week against Marist. Marist had a very proactive play style and kind of outpaced and out-tempoed Quinnipiac completely. That was until Hanamura, where their main support Cookie, she came back into the lineup, slowed things down a bit, and Quinnipiac looked a lot better. It's going to be interesting to me now to see if Quinnipiac have a little bit more control of the tempo of this series.
Yeah, and Quinnipiac coming in off of, like you just said, the back of a pretty strong performance on Hanamura. Obviously, this week we do have some different maps. Lijiang is going to be the first one up. So we did see them struggle on their first couple, maps. And I'm looking for them to carry it over. I think that the leaf they turned in that series is going to carry, and they're going to bring that momentum here. Now, Fairfield, obviously, I didn't get to see any of the games last week, but based on your description right there, I've got a pretty good feeling that both of these teams should be ready and raring to go to come out of the gate. Now, one of the big things here is I always like to see really good team compositions come out, right? And this is one thing I wanted to get into, and we were talking a little bit behind the scenes about it, is that we see kind of off-color stuff from these kind of teams. And with Quinnipiac, we saw them trying to match early on with Maris. Now, I'm wondering, in your humble opinion, and will they try to come out with a more standard thing, or do you think that maybe they'll embrace some of that wackiness that we see in sometimes in the EGC?
It's interesting because, of course, these aren't two of our higher level teams, right? So I think it's hard to expect more meta or set compositions for certain maps. I think it's going to be interesting based on each team's play style or preferred play style, right? Or some of these teams really struggle to have a set identity or play style. So maybe something that's a little bit more consistent. Maybe some double shield comps from Fairfield and Quinnipiac. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, because those are very consistent. But we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting as we go into game.
Yeah, and as we go into game, I think to hop on the back of that, I'm really excited to see the level of improvement coming. Right, that's kind of like the big thing here. Now, we saw a little bit of struggles, but we're gonna go into this game now, and from what I can see from Quinnipiac, with that team composition slowly forming, I like it. I like it on Control Center in Lijiang, right? You got the Junkrat, you got the Metra, and they're going to be coming to the point pretty hard with the Hanzo as well. So as these doors open, we're going to see these two come in and try to brawl it out, I would imagine, unless we get a quick little sub here from Grub. But nope, looks like they're just going to be coming full force as the two teams meet and kind of test the waters. Nothing going to be popping off just yet. Samara looking to put down the damage. I like that Hanzo. Hanzo's going to be looking to put on that poke damage from afar. Maybe get a quick little log in there, find a pick or two, and put good damage down on to Mayonnaise, having to back out a little bit there. Imo is already down, and Walk finds the first pick on Mayonnaise, so maybe some of that poke damage did land, as we do see Fairfield pushing the advantage here a little bit, trying to just take the point in dominant fashion. And Oh man, Ocean, that was a rough first fight for Quinnipiac. The early picks did not help them.
Yeah, we actually don't see Cookie in the lineup for Lijiang, and that's an important thing to note because we never really saw improvements from Scooty on the ability to change tempos and control the tempo of a game, and they really struggled to control tempo with that team fight. Fairfield just played from afar, used their Junkrat and their Hanzo for poke damage, and they had that team fight wrapped up as it started, basically.
Yeah, Shadow's going to come down and is going to find 4. Scooty is the first one to go down, as mentioned previously. The trade does come back, so maybe a little bit of hope here and see if Grub wants to commit any ult here. And no, they are just going to clean it up and back it out. Fairfield still struggling to find their feet. I'm sorry, Quinnipiac still struggling to find their feet as Fairfield does have solid control at this point, taking up to 35%. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm struggling to see how they break this, right? They've gone up the stairs twice, trying to find their way in. Is the brawl the right answer? Do they need to find a little bit of an off route?
I mean, I think they just got to play faster. I feel like they're allowing Walk and Gil to just poke as much as their DPS likes to. And here comes Walk's Riptire, as I just mentioned them, and Grub goes down.
Now, the Riptire does find one, so Grub going down, but he did get the wall down in the meantime. So they are going to have the symmetry barrier up and going. Mayonnaise does end up finding a pick. Firewolf is already down, so the Shatter isn't going to come online. Diva Bomb's going to go up. Doesn't find anything, so now Quinnipiac in kind of a scramble mode. They're trying to get those picks where they can. It does look like a little bit of a soft reset as Grub comes in and finds Vortex and Brick Rick going down as well. Now this is their chance. Opportunity is here for Quinnipiac to take it out. Mayonnaise bringing the tire to really wrap this fight up. Doesn't look like he's going to see very many prime targets. Does end up getting 2, though. They couldn't make their way to the ammo field. And he's picking up a double there on the back end.
I don't really like the Riptide, though. I don't think you needed it. I think it's much better served for when Fairfield are trying to walk into your team, right? Or, just while Fairfield are poking. Because Fairfield aren't going to want to hard engage against Quinnipiac, right? Because it suits Quinnipiac's comp to have a closer brawl.
Yeah, Firewolf fighted a couple of quick strikes there to just kind of wrap this fight up. I'm still struggling from the Riptire. I was not expecting the Riptire to find 2, nor was I expected to be pulled. But that was a really nice cleanup. And I think you're right, it wasn't needed. But they are going to build it up fairly quick. As we know, Junkrats build up Riptires very quickly. Same with the Hanzo ult. I mean, we might see another Dragon here. It was committed in the last fight. Didn't find very much value, but he is almost up to 60% G-Hill. So now we're seeing the rotation coming through center here. They're trying to poke through server room. Gonna be going on a little bit of a long rotation. Trying to find different angles, maybe find those picks from the Hanzo, from Junkrat. And they're still on the march. They are looking to come all the way around as if they're Quinnipiac, walking to be booped up in the air, still surviving. Gotta back it up a little bit, but Milky Way not letting them escape very easily. And now Quinnipiac on the offensive, pushing it super hard. And they're gonna find all the kills they need, as that is gonna be a nice quick cleanup fight. And now it's on Fairfield to find their way in.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting team fight as well, because not many ultimates online, really. Just the Amp Matrix to kind of get Fairfield into the fight, but they don't really want to be fighting too much at close range with Quinnipiac because they have better brawl potential, and Mayonnaise's Riptire is involved as well. Grub goes down, so maybe it's go time now.
Yeah, there's the Dragon going to come through, put a lot of damage down, going to have to force the backup from Quinnipiac. The tire is online, and soon to be is the Diva Bomb, so we're looking to see those 2 ultimates can really hold down the fight for Quinnipiac. As Geo finds Broccoli, that's going to be huge. Milky Way probably going to have to back it out right here. And no one touches. Oh, nobody touches the point, and that's first round for Quinnipiac. They had so many options. Ah! Oh my goodness. That is absolutely crazy.
I just assumed Fairfield just took that fight, right? They were, 3 members up, right?
Yep.
3?
Yep.
And, I mean, Quinnipiac, they've got away with on there because I would think Fairfield would have had a better ultimate economy for that last team fight as well. So, Quinnipiac could count themselves lucky there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was a mental error right there. Just a small one. Like, I think someone thought maybe Diva was going to touch or the right, and it just miscommunication.
Yeah, I mean, Quinnipiac won't be complaining. That was not the best we've seen out of Quinnipiac, but we wanted to see improvements in terms of their tempo and how they control the pace of the game, and we have not seen that thus far. We have not seen that, and that's a little bit disappointing to me, because if they want to do better than a neutral record, 4-4, then that has to be better from them. They need to be able to control games, especially against teams like Fairfield, who aren't considered to be too great.
Yeah, I mean, you really do need to control the tempo, especially against maybe some, lower level teams. That way you can, get that practice in of how to control the tempo as we see them stack up here on the point. They are looking to get first capture control point. But yeah, Quinnipiac's doing a way better job this round, getting to the point, knowing where they want to take the fight. As the engage does start to come through, Poke is landing on Quinnipiac. It is being healed through. Scooty's doing a great job, up to 50%. Vortex also getting up there for Fairfield side. Brick gonna go down low, but does have that shatter coming up online. Does look like he's gonna get it right here, so will he find an angle? He does! He gets all of them except for the Junkrat, and that is 5 on the ground, and that's 3 dead right away. And that's gonna be control flipped right back over for Fairfield in an instant.
Yep. I mean, 20%. I mean, you probably expect more in that situation where you've got Fairfield having to walk into Junkrat spams, Symmetra turrets. Even a big Reinhardt hammer and Brick is just able to do that on their own with a slam. That shouldn't really happen, but it has happened. It's a good play. I mean, I wouldn't have went for that play personally. Good play from Brick, and it deserves to be rewarded.
Yeah, and I like the aggression coming in right now. Brick gonna find another shatter that quickly. I love it, and it really separates the teams here because only a few made it to the point. Pin gonna come through. There are trades going back and forth right now. Brick finally cleaning up a couple of kills. The point is not gonna flip, but Fairfield did a great job of splitting the teams there. I think they tried to put the teleporter down, and they just got split off.
This is worrying for Quinnipiac because, I mean, realistically, do they have any plan in that team fight? Doesn't seem like they've got any shot calling ability right now. They don't know how their composition plays. They don't know what the benefits of having this Moira are. You got to have a quick team fight again if you're playing Moira versus Baptiste because, well, Moira runs out of healing. App has more consistent output, and of course, if you're not having quick team fights, you're not going to win those team fights.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of ultimates to try to make this work. Milky Way gonna drop the bomb right on Walk's head, but not before he picks up Scooty. So you do have the Lucio down, so not as mobile right now for Fairfield. Mayonnaise still on the front of point. The Moira trying to pick up some kills in Broccoli. Not gonna find anything. Nice Diva bomb, clear out the point, relieve some of the pressure. Now they're pushing in, and it's gonna be ill-advised. Broccoli goes down right away. Mayonnaise getting Vortex again, so that's 2 straight times Vortex has been out of the fight. Brick is now asserting dominance as Heel finds Wolf, and that's going to be, I think, Quinnipiac kind of trying to turn this fight right now. No, it's not going to happen. I thought the tire might be enough, but it is getting into last fight territory here, so now we got to have another quick fight, and I don't think quick has been their jam.
It should be. Look at their composition. They should all love to play at a fast pace. They just haven't been able to execute it yet.
Another shatter gonna come down. Does only find the Diva, so it is only gonna slow him down a little bit. Brick gonna have to back it up a little bit as the Coalescence is gonna be popped. Ammo already being used. Gonna have to back out a little bit, catch some heals. That's gonna be a lot of space for Quinnipiac to find some room. And there it is. The kills are gonna come through. G-Hill with the barrier, gonna be trying to do anything, but the Shadow's gonna shut it down, and Milky Way's gonna clean up the fight as Bandage just sprays it from the back. And I'm not sure who's taking this just yet, but Quinnipiac is still up a couple members as everyone else is slowly trickling in, and it does look like the flip will finally come through, and Quinnipiac do take the fight they needed to take. Oh,
I wouldn't say that just yet.
Yeah, they're still going as the barrier comes down. G-Hill trying to throw it out in desperation. Manny's going down with the tire. G-Hill coming in, finding these picks over and over, putting the pressure on every single member of Fairfield, of Quinnipiac, not letting them breathe. Quinnipiac coming in with the tire, gonna find G-Hill. And I tell you what, the longer this fight goes and the more trading that happens, Quinnipiac actually is going to get back faster with the Symmetra teleporter. So this is all good news for Quinnipiac.
Yeah, and you actually have better ultimate, Conway, going into this next, probably maybe 2 fights, but actually, and probably 1 actually. Probably only 1 team fight left in this game. And Quinnipiac have both support ultimates and a self-destruct for it. Fairfield, I mean, they maybe have their tank ultimates. I think they could try and play a slower team fight, build up their Baptiste amplification matrix, and then walk in. That might be the way to do it if you're Fairfield, but it's going to be a difficult one for Fairfield.
Fairfield looking more like their first initial engage right now, pushing it a little slower, taking a little bit more methodically. Hopefully they don't not step on the point here. The bomb's going to come out, is going to kill the M1. It's going to put Logo on a little bit of a lower health pool here as Brick's just going in, not giving any cares of how many members die as the amp matrix isn't going to come out anywhere where they need it. And it does look like Quinnipiac is winning this fight. Logo's trying to turn this one, but Moira versus Bap, and Moira does end up winning it. And do we have any stalls coming in? Diva's trying to make her way, not going to be able to get the touch. That slower fight, like you were just mentioning, I think was the way to go, but I think maybe the Reinhardt got a little bit too overzealous.
approach, right? They got the up matrix off, they got the dead eye off, pretty good. I think it was a misjudgment from Brick. But Brick was solid that game. I thought they were solid in that map. Just a little oversight in that last team fight, the most important one, unfortunately. That was a really messy map from both teams. That's why we never really saw any resets, any concrete win conditions. There was never really an ultimate in that game where you saw that map even, where you saw, okay, that was the win condition, that's won a team fight. It was all very messy. And I think that has to do with how these two teams are set up. I don't think there's any real leadership or game plans going into these team fights, and that's one area that both of these teams would need to improve. We addressed this with Quinnipiac last week. They got better at it last week, but then they changed their main sport going again into this week on Lijiang. Seems like a bit of a weird call to me personally. Hopefully we see Cookie back in the lineup, because I don't think it was a good enough job from the Lucio Scudi on Lijiang. And I think if Quinnipiac are going to try and take this series and push to be a better team, then Cookie's a better choice.
I think this kind of goes to your point of leadership and, shot calling in the middle of a game, because it's one of those things where if you don't have a lot of leadership or shot calling, it's going to look messy, right? It's going to be all over the place. And like you said, to your point, that's why the speed wasn't there that we wanted to see. It's one of those things where, maybe these teams can, huddle together and find a way to figure it out right in the middle of this series. And Fairfield is going to need to find a way to turn that around. And to your point of Quinnipiac, they are going to need to, lock it down if they want to be considered one of the top tiers. But in the meantime, we are going to take a short break. So, go get your drinks, go do whatever you got to do. But we'll be right back in just a few minutes with more Fairfield and Quinnipiac. and welcome back into week 10 for Fairfield versus Quinnipiac. Obviously, Ocean, first game went in favor of Quinnipiac, and now we're going to map 2. Looking at what happened in the first game, bit of a lapse of judgment in round 1, going to round 2, a little bit more lapse in judgment, and we were just talking about how, the leadership and the shot calling might lead to some of the tempo and pacing of the game. What are we expecting in this next round?
Sure. Like watching if you watch that first map of Lijiang and if we're all watching the same game here, it was very messy. It was very messy. Both teams didn't really have a good fight plan, didn't really know, okay, Quinnipiac, you're playing a Moira composition, why can't we play a fast tempo? Why are we uncomfortable doing that? Why can't we do that? We're playing Lucio, we're playing Moira, let's play fast. Because they would have beat Fairfield easily, comfortably in that situation. Fairfield, you know what, 2-6 record, I was expecting a little bit worse. I thought they were good in patches. I think their decision making when it came down to critical fights, like the last one on Control Center and the last fight on Night Market, was poor. And I feel like we were talking about it in the break. We were saying that maybe Brickrick doesn't get aggressive on Night Market and die if the C9 and the error of not touching the point doesn't happen on Lijiang Control Center. So Fairfield, I think, in the critical fight struggled to make the right decisions and win it. But Quinnipiac, I don't think looked great either. Quinnipiac, we've seen good potential from them last week against a really strong team in Marist on Hanamura. I want to see that, and we could potentially see that here on Hollywood because I've noticed a substitution.
Is it the one you wanted?
It is. We need to see this.
As anybody who wasn't here previously, Ocean was hard up for Cookie to come in and have her really lead this team. We do know that they do perform better, Quinnipiac that is, when Cookie is in the game. So that is wonderful to see Cookie in there. Now, looking at these teams coming into Hollywood, this is obviously a hybrid. And hybrids are known for some wacky shenanigans. I'm super excited to see how they change up the pace. They did have a small timeout here for both teams, going to the break. And coming out of it, I'm expecting faster gameplay. It might not be cleaner gameplay. As I say that, I caster cursed every single bit of what I just wanted to happen. That is so sad. But no, to my point, I do expect these teams to go faster. I don't necessarily expect them to be cleaner. But with Cookie coming in, maybe some of the shot calling gets a little better. Obviously, Fairfield had that moment to really regroup. And especially after that tilting moment of stepping off the point. And Ocean, I have been a coach, I've been a player. Those types of mental errors are some of the worst things that can happen to a player.
Yeah, all I'm going to say for Fairfield is they've had a break now. That should be enough time to have a nice mental reset. But again, that also could potentially bring a point in if we didn't really see any leadership in the last map, right? So maybe there isn't a leader to say, hey, let's calm down, let's sharpen up the next game, it's all right. To say a long series. But I would imagine that they can at least calm down in that break and get ready for map 2. Quinnipiac bringing in Cookie, I think, had to happen. I think it really did. Because otherwise they could have potentially lost control of this series. They currently only have control of this series because they're 1 up and Fairfield needed a break, right? That's kind of where we're at right now. And looking at like these compositions, we're seeing double shield and 2 hit scans on Fairfield, Ona as well, so composition that likes to poke a lot, likes a lot of spam damage. So let's not give that too much time, right? Let's play a really fast Wrecking Ball style with Tracer, but let's make sure that we're setting up a fast play style, right? You can take as long as you want on this setup, but when we get into the action, when we get into this team fight, it needs to be fast from Quinnipiac.
Yeah, and the setup is going to be crucial, especially with Milky Way on ball and Tracer really locking up, trying to find those targets together. Going to get poked out a little bit here early, but the early setup phases are the most important part for Quinnipiac right here. Trying to get that early aggression on the top part of the building. Not going to do much of anything as he gets rocked off. Diva did try to join in on the fun, but Grub, with all the distractions, finds the first pick on walk. That is a pretty massive pick for Quinnipiac in order to really get the ball rolling. And as I say, ball finds 2 more with the slam. Hercules going down next. And this is looking like a pretty quick take for Quinnipiac. And the pace we wanted to see looks like they found it.
Yeah, it was better than anything we've seen this series, right? Genuinely, we didn't see anything that good on Lijiang Tower. Their setup was good, it was slow. We saw Grub go around the back, which forced Wonk to kind of check that flank. Otherwise, of course, Logo and Honor would have been in a little bit of trouble. Then we saw the pile drive come in from Milky Way, which meant the tanks couldn't peel for Walk on the Cassidy. They get the kill from Grub, and from there it's pretty good from Quinnipiac. That's the best Overwatch we've seen from them thus far in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, Quinnipiac doing a great job of just taking this high ground. Did forget their vegetables, left broccoli behind on the elevator. Didn't get punished there though, so that's pretty impactful to note. Mines is online, same with Dragon, but Mines I think is going to be the thing we need to watch here as they try to take the ladder up the elevator, and that's going to be a lot of kills coming their way. But Sig is going to try to get some trade kills back as they clear out these mines. Hanzo's gonna find the help. He does. She's gonna save his life as well. Brick in a lot of trouble with this tracer. Big Grub, he's gonna take down Brick. Gil in a little bit of pickle, not gonna be able to find his way out. No. Mayonnaise ends up picking up that final blow. Now, Fairfield on the back foot, trying to back out here, walk, trying to do a little bit of his boots, scooting backwards. Not a lot gonna be found here. Ocean, I'm seeing the pace here, and I'm loving it. They are up in their face, not giving them room to breathe.
More proactive ultimates as well. That Dragon Strike in the minefield and in the previous fight, more proactive. Also, 50%, 70% respectively to those ultimates. And yeah, this is much improved from Quinnipiac here on map 2.
Yeah, Fairfield going to come out with the high noon, trying to start it off early. Not going to find very much of anything as just a tad. This runs right on in. Grub cleaning the cleanup kill here. Oh, Rocket's going to miss just on the bit outside. As we see, Milky Way has no fear. There's 2 there. Backup's coming. He knows it. There's a lot more communication. There's so much more team coordination. I am loving this right now, and that is an easy 5-10 on the time bank for Quinnipiac.
Yeah, and now how are Fairfield going to respond? They're going to respond by picking the Roadhog. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you can try and stop some of the tempo that Quinnipiac has got. Maybe try and spam out the Wrecking Ball a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not too fond of the pick since Mayonnaise is on the Honzo. Ultimates-wise, I still think Quinnipiac have an advantage here. The only real win condition I see is if Fairfield get a good Nano boost online, maybe Nano Visor. I feel like that's the only thing that's going to bring Fairfield back into this map of Hollywood.
Yeah, and an almost D-Mech there, maybe forced out an early Diva Bomb just to get the remech going, especially for this Visor. The Visor is without any buff right now and is going to be shut down right away. Just a tad did go down first, but it doesn't look like that's going to slow anyone down as Quinnipiac shoves in, knowing they have the advantage, knowing that there's no Nano Boost online anymore, as they are just trying to stall out right now. The Valk's doing a great job. Logo does go down, and now it's kind of all on the Hog and the Mercy. Diva is still in the fight. Walk finds Grub, though. That's going to be a big pick, especially for this sustained battle, as they do just fight on the point, and it does look like the defenders are having themselves a bit of a turnaround. Oh no, Broccoli, not like this. Broccoli goes down from Walk. Did not help that Gil was on the other side, just, tearing him up. But there we go. A strong defense slows down the momentum, and it's going to be a small reset here.
There's a change from Quinnipiac as well. They don't really want to play a fast tempo into Roadhog. That's understandable. Maybe they're not comfortable doing it, so they're going to try something a little bit different. Oh, maybe they're going for the Lucia, though. So they've got a lot of spam potential, and they've got a bit of brawl potential. That Dragon Strike's early and proactive, forces Walk away, and now it's go time for Quinnipiac.
And Quinnipiac's going to try to push in hard here. Brick going to try to slow the pace down. Does end up breaking the shield, but most of it's going to be enough antied out from the back. Going to just hide around the corner. Get that health back. Mayonnaise. Ooh, Walk goes down. That Hanzo damage is going to be missed as the Fairfield is pushing in, trying to take back some space. Dragon's going to come out, try to force that space for the team, and G-Hill does end up getting the kill that is needed. Milky Way going to trade it out, and the bomb finds 2 on the back end. Walk going to try to turn this around as Baby Diva is doing her best, but the Nano Boost for Broccoli is going to turn it all on its head. That's Quinnipiac at a 253 time bank on Hollywood. Nothing to sneeze at.
Was very unique switches from Quinnipiac. I don't really like them too much. However, I feel like they weren't really comfortable playing Wrecking Ball and the Roadhog, and that makes a little bit of sense. So they swapped over to Reinhardt, and they swapped Grub over to Ashe, which Ashe is pretty good against Roadhog, because Roadhog, of course, is the only tank hero in the game with not very much defensive utility. Roadhog's defensive utility is that they can body block. They've got a nice little damage reduction ability in the Take a Breather. So, of course, really weak to spam damage, like Ashe, who has a lot of spam damage, and Mayonnaise was already on Honzo. So they kind of checked the Roadhog by doing that. So they switched Cookie over to Lucio to get just a tad onto Reinhardt, which meant that they could play still faster tempo than what Fairfield was doing. And, of course, let's quickly make the point that you can play a slow tempo as long as you're controlling the tempo of the game and it suits your composition. That's fine. For example, Quinnipiac's composition here on the defense, a lot of spam. You're most likely going to want to play a slower composition here, a slower play style, because you have more spam damage. So the slower the team fight is, means more spamming, more likely. Just a quick discrepancy of you don't always have to play fast.
Yeah, playing fast and playing slow. I mean, if you play slow and win the fight one time, that's just as good as playing it fast and, you know, having to take 3 fights in order to get it done. So, you know, point taken, and I love it. And we are going to see Quinnipiac on the spam. So that's, you know, going to be pretty annoying to kind of get through, especially on, you know, the Rhine D.Va. But D.Va's going to do a good job of eating up a lot of that spam damage anyway. As we see the first push in here, just, you know, kind of feeling each other out. Dynamite is going to put down a little bit of damage, but nothing too lethal yet. As we see Fairfield taking it slow, taking it easy, trying to find their route in, and that might be it. As Brick opens it up with Milky Way going down on Roadhog, that beef is going to be missed. We do see a bit of a flankerino from the high ground here from Mayonnaise. Trap onto Hercules. Hercules had no idea Mayonnaise is like 007 sneaking in the backline there and just getting away. And then G-Hill finding the pick on Grub. So overall, right now, Fairfield is doing a good job of poking and prodding, you know, tearing up the defense. And it is look like it's working as 2 ticks. Ooh, 1 tick, almost 2. Coming through right now. There's the second tick as the brawl is still happening on point, and we're just along for the ride with this Junkrat. We are going to find out if this tire is necessary, and it doesn't look like it is.
Yeah, okay, so the team fight was really slow, but the same thing is, when you're playing a slow team fight, you have to still do something. You still have to be active. You still have to be trying to put your opponent on the back foot. I feel like maybe Grub could have taken a more aggressive angle. I think actually maybe Milky Way got caught off trying to take a more aggressive angle. Maybe that's what started the team fight for Fairfield. But it was a slow team fight, so that's positive for Quinnipiac. But again, I didn't see much activity from them. You still have to be actively making your opponents gas themselves. You have to be making proactive decisions in a team fight. Okay, are we going to walk backwards to make it harder for them to approach us? That sort of thing. It doesn't always have to be aggressive, but you can make a proactive decision to try and force a different hand out of your opponent.
And here we see the aggression coming from Fairfield. They are holding no bars right now as they run to the point. After throwing out a couple of ults, Quinnipiac is going to pull out the tire, looking for the big damage. Not going to get destroyed, and Vortex is going to go down. So the opening needed for Quinnipiac. And finally, we see them push in, you know, making a stand, taking out Hercules out of the mech. And just going to run right in there. That's right, get that Mercy! Get that Mercy! Ah, not going to quite find the Mercy kill. But finally, as you said, Quinnipiac, you know, clapping back strong with some of their ultimates.
Yeah, they used a lot of them, probably too many, so that would probably display the fact that we haven't got a confirmed teamfight plan, which maybe just use a couple of ultimates early, try and be proactive. That was better for Quinnipiac, you know, use some proactive ultimates. Be interesting to see how they play proactively without ultimates in this teamfight.
Yeah, would have been even, but the res is going to pick Logo back up as I'm sorry, not Logo, but the member Grub down. And now we see the fight from high ground is going to get dropped down by just a tad. Coming in, trying to, you know, find some space for the team. Milky Way still looking for the picks on the side. I can appreciate a Hog looking for some good picks. And there's one that they wanted on the cleanup. Hercules, yeah, there it is. Just going to wave goodbye and go back to the spawn room. Yeah, now Quinnipiac looks like they got a firm grasp of what they want to be doing on this second.
Yeah, this is also really difficult for Fairfield to approach because, I mean, how are you going to approach any of these Quinnipiac targets? You're on Bro, you want to have your Reinhardt Brick swing that hammer in the face of a target? How are you going to do that with all this spam damage? Well, I'll tell you what, quick decision making. You've got to get ahead of your opposition. And who are they going to swing on? They're going to try and walk on to Grub, for example? I think that's probably the best way of doing things. Or are we going to try and isolate just a tad on the Sigma? Well, that's not an option because your Reinhardt's now dead.
That's the weird thing too, Ocean, is we were watching the very first fight on this point, and we saw Fairfield go so aggressive, but they had a ton of ults. And now it almost feels like they're waiting in some fashion for 6 ults to really get that aggressive again. And for me, I'm just kind of, you know, hoping that Milky Way doesn't keep finding these picks on the side to, you know, constantly stall it out. Does seem like they know something's up though, as they're going to go spy check it a little bit. And he has found out Milky Way is in a tough spot, but the anti going to come through, really help him out. We're going to pop the whole hog. Milky Way finds one off the pick, and the whole hog is putting in a ton of damage. Going to make him back out. And another pick going to come through from just a tad. I've worked out. They even spy checked it, but it wasn't quite enough. Pushing everyone back, and that's going to be a small little reset right now.
Yeah, Milky Way just got away with murder there. Like, quite genuinely, has just murdered Walk in the back line and just gotten away with it. Going into this next team fight, Fairfield has 6 ultimates. However, they've taken so long to use these ultimates for Quinnipiac. Probably a 5 this team fight as well. It's going to be about using them proactively. That's a nice matrix. That means it's going to be easier for Fairfield to walk in.
Yeah, they do get the walk in here. Bob is going to be used early just to stall out the payload. Obviously, no movement while that's up, and no one's going to be looking to do anything. As the Tire finds one, Grubs Bob finds another, and it looks like the 2 DPS ults find a ton of value with Cookie's Valve, and that's going to be another, go ahead and send it on back, boys. We got to restart all over again. And they did use a couple of ults, but Fairfield is struggling to find their way in.
I mean, just a Valkyrie, 2 DPS ultimates proactively before your opponents do anything. I mean, what do Fairfield want to do here? I mean, maybe a self-destruct up top, force some players off the high ground, and then go on to those targets? Yeah. I mean, I think that's perfectly possible for a strategy, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there's the first pick. Let's see if they can deny that res. Not sure if they're going to be able to, as Logo does find a nice anti, and the Nano is going to come out. Milky Way doing their best to put the damage down, and we see the Visor, G-Hill, trying to turn this fight around. Looks like Brick is stuck up top for right now, waiting for some of those heals as Milky Way finds Vortex again. Milky Way is, you're right, getting away with murder, but finally punished out from the anti and from Brick. Now, the movement is going to happen. It's just a matter of how far can they get with 30 seconds left. That is the real question.
I mean, that was a good team fight for them. I don't think Brick's going to die here. I don't really think they're in danger because they used the Dragon Strike to force Quinnipiac off of the high ground, and then they walked in. It was much better from them.
Yeah, I mean, Quinnipiac did a great job there, and they're going to have one more recontest. I mean, if they're really honest, they could just stagger it out, but it does look like we are going to see the Flux come out, gets 3, the beat comes out, saves everyone from going super low. Now, the fight is really on. This is when it gets interesting, because now we got to see who's going to go down first, who's going to go down second, and it is both the tanks for Quinnipiac going to go down, and the payload reaches while that's happening. As we see, man, he's trying to turn the fight all by his lonesome. But Bob wasn't used. There were no ults used. The Flux did put a lot of pressure down, but it wasn't enough for Quinnipiac. Just a Flux isn't going to get it done, especially with a coordinated team, and Fairfield was on that one.
So DPS ultimates and probably a Valkyrie this team fight for Quinnipiac. They're just about keep their DPS alive, but that's going to force out the Primal Rage.
Yeah,
pretty good support play there.
Yeah, Mega Monkey going in deep, trying to find the kills. Going to be focusing on the Hog. Greatest target to focus in on, as Broccoli and Grub do find the trade kills. Bob used to stall out right there, so they are going to get a little bit of ground gained as Hanzo's on the right trying to find something. Going to get poked out of there, maybe even does go down, but it does look like the escapes are coming through, and that's gonna be the teams just kind of feeling each other out again. You see one team get an advantage, you see another team get an advantage, and then it's constant picks as the resets come in, and these teams are not giving each other a chance to breathe. Man, I would love to see them just group up as a team and go in, but they're getting low on time now, and it's last fight territory, 15 seconds. Yes, the respawns are close, but does that matter if you all go down one after the other for the attacking side? Overtime is going to be kind of a devastating loss, and the Tire could be the one that turns it. As we see Mayonnaise coming over the top, doesn't find an initial target. The Diva Bomb does go out, and there we go. We do find Vortex going down. That's going to be pretty massive. They were relatively close to beat. And now Nano's going to be pushed out, trying to save the game. Not going to be doing it. It does look like that's going to be it for Fairfield. But what a wonderful first and second push. They just couldn't get it done on the third point.
Quinnipiac win that, and they look 10 times better. Like, Quinnipiac look really good. 2 minutes 53 they cap on their offense, and on point B they looked excellent. They looked excellent on point B defense. They controlled a slower tempo, which suited their team. And I think that, again, and I'm going to say it, if Cookie's in the lineup, Quinnipiac are a better team. It's so obvious to me. Fairfield had some moments, which was okay for them. I don't think they were as proactive as Quinnipiac, and I don't think they controlled the tempo of the game as well as Quinnipiac. And I think a big part of why Quinnipiac were 10 times better than Fairfield, on Hollywood specifically, was Cookie coming into the lineup. I think she needs to stay in the lineup. Otherwise, we could see the messy series that we saw on Legion.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking that whole time that last point was ticking away. Is Fairfield had such a great opportunity on map 1 to steal one away, right? Steal first and second round. Didn't quite get it done. And then on this one, they come in super aggressive on point A. They get to Streets phase, and then they stall out. And that's, I think, where we saw what you're talking about with Cookie. We started to see them, play into their roles, stay up on the high ground, control the tempo, control the pacing, and control where they wanted to take the fights, right? Yeah, what do they always say? The attackers choose when you fight, defenders choose where you fight. And I think they chose a beautiful job of deciding where they wanted to fight. Now, I will give a lot of credit to Cookie because there was not a lot of that thought process on the King of the Hill map, right? Li Zhang. But I gotta say, I'm looking at this and I thought this was a chance for Fairfield to start stealing some maps, but Winnipeg's doing a good job of turning it around right now.
Yeah, I think Quinnipiac much better on Hollywood. We'll see if they can keep that up because obviously with a 4-4 record, inconsistency is always a question mark, right? Because you're winning some, you're losing some. I mean,
Point
I
flip.
just think they just got to control the game like they did in that last month, like they did in Honolulu last week. So more of that, and I think Quinnipiac will get more W's on the board. Fairfield, I think they were good on map one when it was a little bit messy, but again, I think there is a little bit of a quality gap because Fairfield on point B, you saw that they didn't really know what they wanted to do. They got one really good team fight on point B where they used the Dragon Strike to force members of Quinnipiac off the high ground. That was a good proactive fight for them. Other than that, I don't really see anything from Fairfield that tells me they're here to win this series. A couple of good team fights and a strong map one when it was a messy game. But if Quinnipiac keep Cookie in the lineup and keep controlling this game, I think they're destined for the dub.
Yeah, I think Quinnipiac has a pretty strong hold on the game now. I think they're starting to understand their opponent. They're starting to understand themselves and find themselves a little bit more, especially with Cookie in the lineup. So let's focus in, right, on what Quinnipiac 100%, what they've done so far. And I really want your opinion on where they need to go from here, right? We see them, getting proactive. We see them kind of punishing some mistakes. But what are some of the other things that they really need to do, such as like maybe rotations or jumping in on weaknesses? Like what are the things that Quinnipiac needs to do to really stand out and jump into that upper team echelon?
Some better fight plans, even on map 2, I didn't think they really had too many good fight plans. They used their ultimates proactively, they were the more proactive team, but that doesn't always mean you had some good fight plans. I think there was one team fight that was really good where they had used both DPL's ultimates and Valkyrie. That was clearly a plan. Some of the other team fights, they kind of just threw ultimates together and it was kind of messy. So maybe just better streamlined plans. I really like their setup on point J. More of those sort of setups and more well thought out setups would do Quinnipiac a lot of good.
Yeah, Quinnipiac is. I want to say that I think Quinnipiac has come a long way from last, right? From being disjointed almost the whole time to showing glimmers of what we're seeing now, especially on Hollywood. But for Fairfield, I'm a little surprised. They have those moments of glory, those shining moments, like you said, with the Dragon Strike and everything. But for the most part, it feels like there's no one saying go, right? There's not the, and then there's that guy on the team or woman that says go. This is it. We're pulling the trigger, and they don't seem to have a trigger puller on it.
Like, it doesn't seem like they're ever really shooting the same target. Target focus is a bit of a problem. It doesn't seem like you're playing a Reinhardt comp. Get onto a target. Swing that hammer. You can't just hold shield the entire game. Get onto a target. Get onto an Ashe. Get onto a Sigma. I don't care who it is. Pick a target. Everyone get on them. You're playing Lucio. You're playing Reinhardt. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different here on this map. And again, look at Quinnipiac on their defense. Looks like it's going to be slower tempo. 2 long-range DPS. Arisa, who typically likes to stay far back. Milky Way on the Sigma as well. And this is just what we're going to see from Quinnipiac by the looks of things.
Yeah, and maybe this is like their style, right? Maybe they are a slightly slower team. Maybe those faster comps are hard for them to pull off, and they're leaning into what they're strong at now. We did see this a little bit on Hanamura with the Ashe gameplay, and we loved it. We were like, oh, this is perfect, and the Soldier, and I like the rotation for Mayonnaise on the Widow, right? It's just a more potent Soldier, so it's just a one-shot machine, right? Soldier's consistent damage. But with that being said, I think that's the way to go for Quinnipiac. And then Fairfield, they're coming in more on the similar comps that we've seen them on. I mean, the Soldier variant instead of the McCree. I dig it. You get the shield burst. You get that consistent damage that you need on the tanks. As G Hill does find the first pick. Unfortunately, Mayonnaise does go down, but Milky Way trading it right back out. So now we've got ourselves an even fight. 1 DPS down, 1 support down. Who's going to make the first move? The really aggressive move to see who starts this off. Rotation's coming through. They're going to back in to the Mega. just feeling each other out. I like this. I like that Quinnipiac has this much time to have the Widow come back. I don't like that Fairfield took so much time. And here comes the push in. They are going to start the progression on the point. And the first tick is going to look like it's coming through. They are going to give up a tick. Never mind. Fairfield's going to step off. But Walk does find Milky Way going down. So we do have Fairfield taking control, using that space that was given to them. Now, it does look like Fairfield's just going to take the point. And that's it. That's all she wrote. And the slower style seemed to pay off for Fairfield. Despite everything I said.
They walked up to the high ground. Quinnipiac then forced back to the Mega Health Pack room, and then they just walked onto a target. They walked into the room. It was better for them to brawl. Better from Fairfield. They just got to be more productive, more active, always doing something. If you don't do anything, you're not forcing your opponent to do anything, and they can do whatever they want, right? So, yeah, better from Fairfield that team fight. I do think Quinnipiac did, make some good decisions there, but it's going to be difficult in this next team tonight, especially with Firewolf dying.
Yeah, the MH is coming out, putting out big burst damage as Fairfield just storms the point. They're now just looking to get the cleanup kills and lock this point down as the second tick comes in. Valkyrie's going to be popped. Visor's going to shut that down. There's not a lot for any Quinnipiac member to do to get on this point as the Visor is just locking it down and Reinhardt standing guard at the gate. And it's going to be 509 on the point there. Fairfield, they took that slow game and rammed it somewhere. Yikers.
Yeah, it just wasn't there. They didn't control the tempo at all.
Nope.
One way to do it. I mean, even just having players on different high grounds, different positions. Everyone was kind of lumped up together on point A, right? Like everyone was in the same spot. I mean, I understand the rotation to Mega Health Pack room. That makes sense. You got to control that Mega Health Pack. It's a very good area to control. But why not send a player up to high ground? Because, for example, I think it was Walk. Walk was on the Hunter. Was it? Maybe J Hill. One of the two players on Fairfield was on that opposite high ground. Then you challenge that, and then maybe you can come back into that team fight, or maybe send multiple members up to the high ground, and that's a player on an off angle. That's much better in my opinion. Look, Quinnipiac, we've seen them play well this series. We want to see that all of the time. It probably does explain their 4-4 record, but again, let's now talk about Fairfield. They were better, weren't they? Just slowing things down. No pun intended, because actually sped things up. They made some good decisions. They were proactive. And going into this next round, 5 minutes on Sky Industries. That's very impressive.
Yeah, Quinnipiac just gave the space, right? Like they just let them have whatever they wanted. That's why I said yikes. It was almost like there wasn't even a fight put up because of all of the space given to Fairfield. If you're gonna run, the style that they're running, you have to eventually, stand your ground. And it just felt like they just gave it all away. But now Quinnipiac on the attack. They're gonna be going with a much more aggressive style. A version of dive that I personally love with the echo variation. It is super nice, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the back line and the front line with that beam being a ton of damage. As we see Grub setting up for the dive, they are choosing their target. They're still looking. They're not sure who they want to go on just quite yet. Poking and prodding. Echo's going to go up, looking for a little bit of poke on the Anna. Anna is super low, and that is going to be the dive coming in on her. She does survive for now, but the mini missiles are going to take her down. That was a beautifully executed dive there from Firewolf and company, just going in on the soft target. And now we see him jumping in on the main tank. Firewolf gonna go down as the Brigitte, kind of rough, but cleanup kills are coming in. The space gained from the initial dive is enough as they just start cleaning up these kills. And eventually, I believe this is gonna go in their favor as everyone is super low on the side of Fairfield. But Brick trying to turn it around. He's gonna be popping the Mega Monkey. He's gonna be going in deep. Mayonnaise does find the Brigitte on the backside there as the ticks start coming through. Mega Monkey goes down in the end, not quite enough. And Quinnipiac with the dive, looking pretty okay right there.
It was a really good setup. You saw Grub going around the back. They spot out the Honor, Discord Orb, Firewolf leap. Grub's in there. Milky Way was even involved. I mean, I would sometimes question Milky Way getting involved and maybe not staying with Broccoli, but it didn't end up having to matter in the end. And looks like they're going for a similar setup here in this next fight. You're going to have Grub in the backline, Mayonnaise spamming. Once they find a target, they go.
Oh, and a dangerous positioning from him. But, the MO is going to save him. So Soldier is just super low. Does have the biofield down. But Fairfield is dropping health fairly quickly as Firewolf finds one knockoff. The second kill there. Firewolf is going crazy. And this Mega Monkey is not stopping anytime soon. Mayonnaise gets the swap, finding the kills with the duplicated Soldier. And we might see just a good a time bank coming out. Brigitte gonna be popping the rally, trying to get onto the point. Gonna be dropping low, Broccoli picking up the kill. Discord Orb is very deadly. And we've got 2 minutes, 2:16. Maybe defense just isn't their bag.
You know what? I was happy with that. Again, it wasn't even a fast dive style from Quinnipiac there. It was a slower dive. It was good setup,
Calculated.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think Quinnipiac slower play style suit them, and just can we control the game to be slower? And I think they can do that at points. They need to do it more often. Fairfield showing improvements in this map as well, a little bit more productivity, more proactive play as well, which is good improvements. I think that's why this map is closer. Even though Fairfield have the bigger time buying, my brain and my gut is telling me that this series is still well under control from Quinnipiac. They're going to attack it first again here, and I would imagine we're going to see a very similar point A and point B offense from them. Just set up. Who are we going to go on? We find a Baptiste or we find a Nash, right? Let's go. We've got an Echo spamming at them. We've got a Winston jumping on them, and a Tracer who's already set up in the backline, ready to go. He's spotted the mine. Those sort of setups, especially when you've got a team like Fairfield low down in the standings, they're not going to be able to cope with that. So, Quinnipiac continue that on Volskaya, I think they'll probably take this out.
Yeah, and it goes to your point earlier, a slow, calculated one fight is pretty good as long as you can pull it off. And that, I think they pulled it off very well, and they're going to be looking to run it back. So is Fairfield. I mean, not a ton of swaps here. I mean, we do have, the break still out there. May's going to be a smidge different, which I like. You're going to be trying to slow things down, but G Hill getting picked off super early is going to put them on the back foot right away, as Fairfield has to back into the Mega immediately, way sooner than they did last time, and the gas pedal is down as Diva separates out Orisa. Hercules going down. This is horrible right now for Fairfield, as they are just jammed up in that small room with almost nowhere to go, and another one comes through with Walk going down. This is just falling apart quickly for Fairfield, and they are going to have to do something to turn this around really quickly. Otherwise, this is just going to be first point going to Quinnipiac, and as Ocean, you said, they found their groove, and your gut was right.
Yeah, no, good setup. They actually got the Ash early as well. That was kind of my guess. So, I'm on fire today right now. And so is Grub as well. Grub's played a really good series so far as well. Being kind of the anchor, he's been switching heroes to match different playstyles and setups. Really good. Has the pulse bomb again soon, but getting matched with Walk on the Tracer. This could be an interesting fight.
Now, Walk is going to swap over to the Tracer. We do see the duel coming in through, but in the meantime, we see Mayonnaise getting the Widow with the sticky mines. Kind of tough for the Widow to deal with there. Not a lot of help coming her way, especially since everyone's kind of choked up in this little corner. Mayonnaise finding the other pick again. Now it's just desperation time. Trying to touch point, trying to stall it out. We are going to see the swaps coming through. Ooh, no, the Flux didn't find anything. Not necessarily his fault, just trying to do whatever they can to touch. We do see G Hill coming in along with Logo, and that's going to be it with a 57-second time bank in our second round. 4th point for them. Yeah, you were right. Quinnipiac found their groove, and I think they're loving this dive.
Thought so. I mean, look, it looked very obvious to me. Genuinely confidence there. I've watched enough Overwatch to know, right? I've coached teams, I've managed teams. I've watched enough Overwatch to have a gut feeling there that Quinnipiac, they were under control. They knew what they were. I mean, point A and point B of their first offense, point A and point B of their second offense, identical. Perfect. Fairfield, they didn't have a response. I didn't imagine that they would have a response, just because of how they've been adapting so far this series. They've improved as a team, but the adaptation to what Quinnipiac is doing hasn't been that great. So I wasn't really expecting much from them in terms of that. It looks like they're going to try something else. They're going to try a more aggressive brawl composition that I would probably call rush composition, because you've got the Reaper here. I think the Reaper is designated to shut down the Winston. However, there's a problem with that. That Reaper, how is it going to get involved in the fight when you've got Discord Orbs, good spam from heroes like Zenyatta? There's so much high ground that Firewolf could just jump to high ground, and suddenly Walk isn't even close to the Winston to even do that damage. And Mayonnaise also the Torb turret as well to zone out the Reaper. I'm not sure that this is going to be the best pick here, but I can kind of see why Fairfield are going for this more aggressive rush composition.
Listen, Ocean, I'm thinking you're reading this wrong. This is dive. This is Rhine charge into Reaper teleport behind. You know what I mean? They are going to be going hard, as we see them pushing in already. And they're going to find very much of what they're looking for. Diva going up on the high ground, trying to force that, so that way they don't have to have any poke from the top. Looking like an assassin in the back here for G-Hub. Grub. It's G-Hill, got me confused as well. And is going to force the immortality. So this dive right now is kind of wrecking this ball with this high ground control, and they don't really have an answer for it, as the AoE damage from Winston and Tracer is putting in so much work with the Torb turret on the side. just there's so much damage and they're not dealing with it, and it's so hard for them too because they, as you said, they don't have a lot of mobility. And we see now Firewolf has Mega Monkey online with the Primal. Mod probably isn't going to use it in this fight, but probably end up saving it, especially since they're down so many for Fairfield. They don't see a need to use it, and there's going to be the cleanup kills. Yeah, that was a pretty staunch defense for Quinnipiac.
I mean, like, look, Walk's 37% on their ult, right? They didn't get into that team fight whatsoever. Grub is 35 and has used an ultimate. You know, there's kind of the difference here, because Grub was constantly involved in that fight. And also credit to Firewolf and Milky Way for getting their DPS involved. I thought they played really well. They used the high grounds well, didn't let Walk get involved as well, kind of nullifying the impact of that Reaper pick. But going into the next team fight, Fairfield will have some ultimates. They've got an Ant-Matrix, which should give them some space. And when they got onto the point as well, they've got a Blizzard and a potential Sound Barrier as well. So they've got some options if they get into this team fight.
Yeah, and getting into the team fight is going to be the name of the game. G-Hill finds Grub on the side there, so a lot of damage down early, a big factor. And there's the Shatter, going to be finding main tank, but it's going to be a trance to save his life. Now, Firewolf is going to get frozen up and go down. Walk does eventually find his way into the fight with the Death Blossom. Not going to find very much, just Firewolf going down. And this is just a staunch defense again for Quinnipiac. They are just not letting them breathe at all. Even though they had a chance, you know, Torb is going to seal the deal with the ultimate. And that's going to be it. Quinnipiac just getting these cleanup kills. And what a great defense that was from them.
Yeah, that's going to be a series too. I mean, unless Fairfield whips something magical on it, it's going to be over. 3, 2, 1. 3-0 for Quinnipiac. I just want to quickly say the obvious thing. Play Cookie more. You controlled this. They controlled the series when Cookie was in the lineup. Factually, they played a really good tempo. A slower tempo was good. They were proactive. They had better fight plans, and their setups were better. So why not just, you know, have Cookie in the lineup? I don't see why we saw Scooty playing Lee Shong today. Maybe just play time against Fairfield, who are a weaker team, but of course, I don't really agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Cookie looked fantastic in that. But the one thing I've taken away from that last map is, my goodness, their setup for their dive was pretty good. Like, I'm sitting here like, why were you all running this more? Yeah, some maps it's not viable, but my goodness, the way y'all ran it, how methodical it was, it looked pretty viable to me. Yeah, it looked really good. And for Fairfield, I mean, kind of going out there with a lackluster team fight, but again, I think maybe that's compositional like swaps that needed to come through.
I think it was comp-wise, yeah.
Yeah, that was just tough for them to like do anything.
Yeah, I want to note one other thing is Volsky Industries is my favorite map. I love a bit of Winston play, right? You know, and I thought it was good. Firewolf pretty solid on the Winston there. And to be fair to Fairfield, right, 2 and 6, I don't think that was a really accurate representation. They showed some good signs. Nothing really that I can identify as a major problem. I think they just need to clean everything up, right? You know, a little bit of everything to improve for Fairfield, but better than I was expecting. Strong performance from them.
Yeah, strong performance from Fairfield, especially in certain moments. They really stood out, and I really like what Brick was doing. Brick did a really good game. I absolutely loved it, and does look like we're gonna have Scooty in for the interview. That'll be super interesting for us when we do get him in here. But in the meantime, we are going to take a short break. So go grab anything you need to, drinks, bathroom, whatever, and we'll be right back with that interview with Scooty. Welcome back to week 10. We are here today with Scooty for an interview after the 3-0 sweep over Fairfield. Quinnipiac looking pretty strong there. And Scooty, good to have you in here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, we just got done watching what you were doing, and Scooty, could you take me through, some of the reasons why, you and Cookie keep getting swapped out? What's the deal there, and maybe is it about synergy? Tell me a little bit more about that dynamic.
It's definitely a synergy thing. Whereas Cookie is definitely more of a Mercy player. I'm a little bit more comfortable on Lucio, and I work very well with our Reinhardt player Firewolf. So yeah, it's definitely a synergy thing that we keep getting swapped out.
All right, and so can you tell me how long the team's been together? And I know that teams go through ups and downs, and they also go through changes back and forth. With people graduating, new members coming in. Tell us a little bit about how the team has come together this year.
Well, I actually joined the team at the beginning of the fall semester, and it hasn't changed at all until now. I mean, there hasn't been any changes since I've joined specifically.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just saying, what was your experience been like? Coming into a new team.
It was definitely very interesting. There was definitely it definitely took a lot to get to know everyone. And, it is very fun to just be able to play on a team, people I enjoy.
I mean, yeah, it's always good to play with people you like, you know what I mean? But yeah, thank you so much for answering some of my questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
My turn for questions now, right? You ready for this? Right. So, map 1, you're a little bit of a messier map, a little bit closer map. Can you talk me through some of the changes that happened? You're going into map 2 and onwards in that series?
With map when I started out floppy, there was definitely a period where we got a little bit too excited when we were engaging. So we in maps 2 and 3, we just took a few deep breaths, calmed down, and pulled through very cleanly, in my opinion, at the end.
Yeah, nice. Now, a 5-4 record, positive. Going into the rest of the season, what are your Quinnipiac's ambitions for the rest of the season? Because that was a pretty strong performance here today.
Well, our main goal is to blow up and act like we don't know nobody. But yeah. We're just gonna hope that we win. Just keep on winning, stay strong, keep practicing.
Glad to hear.
I was muted.
I was so confused.
Nobody panicked. No, I was just saying thank you so much, Scooty, for coming in and sitting down with us for an interview and giving us a little insight on the team. But we'll go ahead and let you get back to your celebrating or whatever's going on in the background there. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, everybody, that was Quinnipiac taking the 3-0 against Fairfield. I mean, as we saw there, they're having a good time. Obviously, they're in good spirits. And for Fairfield, I mean, hopefully you guys can turn it around there next week. But we do have more games coming up next. We've got ourselves, what is it? Canisius versus Maris. And so we hope you join us back here in just a little bit while those teams get all set up. We'll see you soon.
Bye.